Oh boy. Oh boy, boy, boy. My heart's racing. As if DC Editorial is gonna show up to my house. Nervous. Oh my god, I haven't seen you guys in so long. The 12-year-olds subscribed to this account are gonna be really, really confused. It's okay. I'm also really confused. Okay, let's talk about it. Okay, let's talk about it. I also have Outlaw Part 1. It's a gift from my brother. So we can really get into this. I'm looking at it. I'm looking at the text in front of me. I have spent all my free time reading this comic, this series, this run by Tom King. Should I do an intro? This is my intro. You know what's going on. You know what's happening. If you clicked this video, you know, you know what's happening. Meow. Anyway, I used this text a lot in my thesis. Actually, it was half of my thesis because I compared Marston's original characterization of this character in his comics, her creator, to the way she's being portrayed now. I analyzed her relationship with Steve Trevor, how that is operated, how that's being showcased. I have a few snippets on my blog, actually. Oh my god, plug. I have a few snippets on my blog that goes through Marston's portrayal of Wonder Woman at the very least. We're going to talk now about Tom King's portrayal. Are you guys excited? Yeah, me neither. Disclaimer, these are my opinions. Meow. I'm literally just sitting on my couch wearing cat ears, mad as all hell, giving my opinion on a comic book series. So let's all chill. Let's all chill. I won't be chill. I'm gonna lose my chill very quickly in the course of this video, but let's, as a collective, be chill. I left the realm of academia. I submitted my thesis. I gave the nuance I need to give. And now I have to do what I need to do and get this off of my chest. This run makes me mad, like really mad, like really angry. I'm not gonna waste your time and give you a plot summary, because why would I do that? If you read this run, you read this run. If you haven't, don't. There's no reason to. I'll give the very short synopsis that, like, in this run, Wonder Woman is fighting against the king of America, so to say, a man called the Sovereign. There he is, ugly, ugly man. He is supposed to represent the antithesis of Wonder Woman, while she is freedom and feminist or whatever. He is very conservative in the patriarchal. Okay, sure, yeah. He possessed the lasso of lies, which basically allowed him to manipulate the US government. So that's why a lot of what happens, honestly, in this book specifically, is because of the lasso of lies that he has. So Tom King created a living, breathing manifestation of the patriarchy to torment Wonder Woman. Symbolism. Wonder Woman throughout the storyline has to find the best way to take down the Sovereign and his legacy, because he is directly targeting Amazons, which we see in the first issue. Okay. Okay. Cool. So what you need to know right now is that a man is narrating the story. A man, the Sovereign, is narrating her story. So there's that. This story inherently is the perspective of a character that is depicted in every which way, circular 360, as a misogynist. So that this sovereign, as if there's multiple, whatever. The Sovereign is telling this story to Trinity, Wonder Woman's daughter. We'll get there. Oh god, I'm shaking. I've been sitting on this for months and I'm fuming. Okay, whatever. Bear with me. I'll get to her daughter, but it's crucial that you understand that the Sovereign is narrating this for the tone of voice this story is about to have. I'm going to discuss 3 main points that I feel are not only at tension with Marston's original intentions for the character, but every Redditor, every Wonder Woman Redditor is really upset by these points. Me, I'm the Wonder Woman Redditor. The 3 points are the relationship between Diana, Bruce, and Clark, the recreation of the Trinity for marketing purposes that don't benefit Diana, the relationship between Diana and Steve Trevor, and the over-reliance of the male figure and how that seeped into the relationship Diana has with her daughter. Last but not least, the relationship between Diana and her sisters and the conversation about the usage of topical politics within Wonder Woman comics and media. I'm going to be using William Marston's foundation for the character as my kind of foundation and lifting point, not because I necessarily agree with everything he had to say about, women, because I do think that man was like a little whiny baby that wanted to do feminism in a straight male way. But he did pave a foundation for the conversation of feminism within this media. Two things can be true. This video is not about Marston. I'll talk about him eventually one day because, those who know about him know. And those who don't really don't know. I'm gonna be honest, this video is for me. This video is for me to confess what has been weighing on my soul since, I don't know. I don't know how long it's been. Time as a concept at this point to me. Like, I have to confess to you all that I've read this run. I have to confess to you all that I read this run. Be my priest in this moment. We're gonna pretend that this room is a Catholic confessional box, and I'm going to unload my sins to you. And my sin is reading this comic and analyzing it and interpreting it as much as I have. I'm gonna get wonky and break this up because I do feel like explanation is needed. Let's talk about the usage of Bruce and Clark in this storyline. The original Trinity, part 1, whatever. This is my introduction point because I honestly don't know how much you know about Wonder Woman. Like, I don't know if you read Marston's writing. I don't know if you've read King's Run. I hope you haven't, honestly, but whatever. I didn't include this section regarding Bruce and Clark in my thesis because it's a little bit more nitpicky than academic. If you don't want to go through the very dark, long tunnel of marketing in the history of comic books and why DC really does what it does. But I think it is a good introductory point for the type of writing we're dealing with. Anyway, if you know DC, you know the Trinity. The Trinity, is a really fancy way to describe Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman as a team. These 3 are usually the leaders of the Justice League. If there's a situation on Earth, these 3 are the ones having an emergency meeting about it or whatever. DC has established that these individuals love each other, trust each other, which is really cute. Genuinely, I do love some good original Trinity content every once in a while. It's cute. I really do think they have a sweet relationship that DC has organized. I love the dynamic between those 3 as much as the next fangirl, but not at the cost of overshadowing the only female character. I'm gonna read you some of my own thesis because I can and I want to. I write Batman and Superman have been given far more opportunities as characters than Wonder Woman. Batman has at least 10 live action films where he is the titular character. Superman has at least 11, and Wonder Woman only has 2. These do not include the animated cinematic universe of DC, where Wonder Woman once again has 2 movies as titular character as opposed to Batman's 37 and Superman's 14. This is also separate from video game titles. Warner Brothers announced in December of 2021 that Wonder Woman would be getting her own video game. This project has been officially canceled as of 2025, with the studio providing a statement that reads, "Our hope was a way to give players," that's not the quote, Astro, please read it correctly. Quote, "Our hope was to give players and fans the highest quality experience possible for the iconic character. And unfortunately, this is no longer possible within our strategic priorities." That is Warner Brothers' email to Kotaku, which is a cultural games news media website. She is important to the group, recognizable and aesthetic, but does not get the same recognition in marketing. This character is given very little solo opportunities, moments where the character can independently express her values. She's not been given many opportunities, which is why it's so crucial to bear in mind her origins when she does. And like, why bring this up? Who cares? Because it gets blaringly more obvious the more King tries to like shove Clark and Bruce down our throats. Like, oh my sweet baby boys. I'm not happy to see you right now, actually, or hear about you, actually. Even like in the first issue, it takes Wonder Woman 20 pages for her to first appear in her own titular. My hair is gonna piss me off, and I'm already steaming. Whatever, she shows up finally in her own comic. I'm making myself parched in anger and violence, and I'm on page 3 of the script. Meow. So on page 22, the narration starts comparing her fighting style to other heroes. Like it literally reads, oh, we enjoy how she fights. It is rather distinct from her distinguished colleagues, isn't it? Batman and his gadgets, Superman and his strength, the Flash his speed, Green Lantern his ring, Aquaman his fish, the Martian his disguises, Canary her voice, and on and on and on. Is there real? You just named the whole Justice League. Is there like and on and on and on, bro? You went on and on and on. Oh, whatever. Like the entire listing of the Justice League and their powers, like a superhero trivia quiz, is the tone for the first battle of Wonder Woman's storyline. Like the minute she walks in out onto the battlefield, we're talking about her coworkers. Damn, she just got here. So this will set the tone for what I feel is an over reliance of other heroes. In this story. There's also this ridiculous panel where Steel is like, I have enough power to bring. No. He says, I have enough firepower to bring down the Justice League. The issue before, Wonder Woman threw a tank over her head. What are we talking about? You can't comfortably read the storyline without being consistently reminded of Superman and Batman. And the most glaring thing that like really grinds my gears about the way King uses Batman and Superman, the over-reliance of Batman and Superman, is during issue 5, where Diana has a friendly competition with her sisters in order to deter them from joining this fight that she's gonna fight Axe, the Amazon extraction entity. And she's telling her sisters not to whatever. Whatever. The point is that Diana is telling her sisters to stay away while the Sovereign is asking villains to come help. He somehow gets Darkseid's daughter on board. Stacked team. I'm not even gonna lie. I don't know how you have connections like that. Anyway, Diana is trying to get her sisters to not help because she feels like they're not ready or fully experienced or whatever. Actually, not whatever, because it kind of makes me mad. It kind of makes me mad because there's like this panel where after Diana defeats Yara in their little competition, Yara's on the ground and Diana literally is towering over her and is like, yeah, stay out of my war. Who are you talking to? Your war? I'm sorry. I thought Amazonians were being gunned down in the streets. Mock ice raids on Amazonian axe raids. That's what they were. Axe raids to Amazonian US citizens. And if they didn't comply, gunned down. But no, girl, it's your war. Yara and Diana have this bow competition, whatever. They just shoot arrows at each other. Sick, all things considered. Cassie and Diana have an arm wrestling competition, which, you know, a good moment for my girl Cassie. Let's all take a moment and appreciate my girl Cassie, because we get crumbs in this economy. Beautiful girl. So Yara and Diana go bow to bow. Cassie and Diana arm wrestle. They both talk about the war. In both sequences, they talk about the war and how Diana does not want help because she feels like the girls are inexperienced and she just honestly just doesn't want them to get hurt at the end of the day. The competition and conversation between Donna and Diana. They play Injustice. They play fucking Injustice. They sit and play as Superman and Batman in an Injustice style fighting game while talking about different strategies that Superman and Batman implement. This just feels so insulting to Donna, honestly, more than anything. Like, damn. The other Wonder Girls get like this like intimate moment where they like look Diana in the eyes and they have this like battle where the tensions are high. And Donna and Diana just sit next to each other and play video games. It's because she's a part of the Teen Titans. Those wacky kids. All they do is play video games. Whatever. She gets mad and throws the fucking Xbox controller, which she loses, which honestly, relatable gamer content. Hashtag relatable gamer content. The comic also ends with the girls just like ignoring Diana and enjoying the fight anyway. So like whatever at the end of the day, but like damn. We can't go like 5 seconds without, and it's like it's a whole explanation of how Superman and Batman, how they fight and how they operate, instead of like a conversation about the war. The war. It just makes me mad. Like, why can't Wonder Woman hold up on her own as her own character? Why do we have to keep talking about them? If I want to see them together, I'll pick up a Justice League comic. I know where to find them. You know where to find them. Get it out of my Wonder Woman comic. Thanks. Anyway, that's the intro. I'll loop back to talking about Superman and Batman when I talk about the concept of the Trinity later, when I talk about her daughter, whose name is Trinity. I feel like I'm being pranked. I feel like this is an elaborate bit. I'm not laughing. It may look like I'm laughing, but anyway, let's get into what really makes me mad about the storyline. Steve Trevor. Oh, Steve. Okay. Honestly, it all starts in issue 2 for me, where, like, bear with me, I've been recording for 24 minutes and I barely got into, like, my knife has barely grazed the surface of the butter container and we have an entire piece of bread to go through, guys. Like, bear with me. I'm wearing cat ears, bear with me. So we jump to issue 2. You know, the one where she like throws a tank over her head, issue 2. Right. Okay. I already know this Steve is going to be the worst because he says this in this issue. I get it, you're Wonder Woman. This isn't some silly Dr. Psycho shit, they're gonna fucking kill you. This is the fucking US Army. First of all, watch your goddamn tone. Know your place. Do you know who you are speaking to? Oh my god. Oh my god. The audacity of you. Goodness. The character of Steve Trevor is honestly so fascinating. At least like with the way Martin? Who's Martin? With the way Marston utilized him and like, and now it feels like nobody really knows what to do with him. And like, that's really hilarious until it's not. It's not funny at all. Like in this instance, Steve Trevor is supposed to be a voice of dissent. Like he tells Wonder Woman that she can't do something that she can obviously do. Like supposed to represent, and I may be giving King a lot of credit for this, to me, what I see is a psychological bind that holds women, the voice of a man saying that they can't do something when in reality they can. I'll also give him the tiniest credit for the line of like saying she's no one's girl when Steele's like, oh, how did that go? How'd your girl go? Like, how did she agree or whatever? That entire page also adds context because Steele asked Steve to go persuade Diana to stand down. Steele, I don't think, told him to insult her to her face the way she did, but whatever. Orders are orders. I understand, big man. I understand. No, I'm kidding. I'm not actually going to give this depiction any credit because when the battle is said and done, Steve says, she wins. That's who she is. Then why did you say this to her? Oh my god! You had no reason to speak to her like that if you knew all along that she could do it. Rude! Rude as hell! Get away from her! Oh! I need to move on. We haven't even discussed what I wrote in my actual paper. Talk about Wonder Woman bondage for like 1 second. 1 second of your time, please. For those new, Wonder Woman gets bound. A lot. Every time. All the time. In the original, at least. You know? Bondage, gag, ties, all of it. All of it. It's a double-sided coin. On one hand, it's supposed to represent the act of women freeing themselves from patriarchal binds. If you look at suffragist cartoon iconography and images at the time, it represents women being bounded physically, like by the patriarchy, like ropes tied around them that say the patriarchy or marriage or unwanted pregnancies, all that. So it is supposed to represent that, like, well, if Wonder Woman is being bound by a man, she shows that she can escape regardless of who ties her up and regardless of the situation. We know Wonder Woman can escape. The other side of the coin is the sexual imagery was really good for sales. So good for sales. Anyway, I talk about that in my blog. Go read that blog. Go read that blog post. There's an army man who talked about how horny he was for the depiction of bound Wonder Woman. Go read it. It's a shit show. Anyway, bondage is integral to her history. It just is what it is. If you want to have a more academic discussion about it or want a more academic insight into it, I would recommend Wonder Woman Bondage and Feminism in the Marston Peter Comics 1941 to 1948 and is written by Noah Berlatsky. We're still here. We're still together. I'm going to hold your hand. We're going to do this together. I promise. Bear with me. I really like issue 8. I really like it. I honestly will give my props to it. I think the writing is solid. I think the characterization of Diana is solid. I think the messaging is great, like in tow with Marston's original messaging, if not expands it and expands the idea of what it means for a man to bind a woman. Sometimes it's not just physical, it can be psychological as well. So in this issue, Diana is captured by the Sovereign. She is bound by the lasso of lies, and as he speaks to her, she finds herself trapped in this false delusion that she's Steve Trevor's housewife. She hates it, obviously. She knows she has to get free, but she can't. She feels trapped, so she complies. She only gets free when the Sovereign says to her, "You poor thing, you're but a daughter." And through this false reality, Diana imagines her mother, who gives her words of wisdom and reminds her that the smart, thinking little girl that Diana is, at the end of the day, Diana remembers that she is a daughter. The Sovereign meant it as a kind of jab that, like, oh, you are lesser than because you are a daughter, to which Diana evokes her mother and remembers the true meaning of what it is to be a daughter. Great stuff. She breaks her binds. She fights back. She goats the Sovereign. There's this really cool panel of it. I think the issue is really amazing. I think it really reinforces what Marston was trying to do with the character in an evolutionary way, showing that regardless of what happens or what a man does, Wonder Woman will always escape. Until she doesn't. Until she doesn't escape. Okay, next issue, we learn she's been under the Sovereign's capture for weeks, months, I don't remember, it's right here. Her mind is breaking so immensely that she has to evoke the hallucination of Steve Trevor. Oh my god. You want to know what the hallucination of Steve Trevor is, team? A fucking asshole. He literally says to her, in her own mind space, mind you, where she is taking out her frustrations, to the man that literally has her trapped there. She imagines breaking his neck. God forbid a woman gets her anger out. And Steve says to her, a hallucination, Steve, mind you, a Steve Trevor that she created, not the actual Steve Trevor, one that she is conjuring in her mind, says to her, I thought Amazon's supposed to be good. Like, why didn't you just let me kill him? Excuse me? Excuse me? Okay. I'm going to read from my own thesis again because I don't know how to say this nicely anymore. I quote me, quote, this sentiment does not come across when Diana frees herself only to be captured for an extended period. It suggests that the patriarchy still binds her despite all the effort she gives to fight back, as the sovereign maintains physical control of her by keeping her hostage. The evocation with Steve is also at ties with the idea of self-liberation Marston presents. This interpretation does expand upon the idea by including the boundaries of psychic bondage, showing that a patriarchy's control over a woman is not solely just physical. Even though this hallucination is just an extension of her subconscious, the message of freedom is being conveyed by the representation of a man. This issue implies that Diana could not have succeeded in her path to regaining mental sanity without the representation of a man, at odds with Wonder Woman not needing anyone to free her in her original run. While this psychic bondage does broaden the scope of what a man having power over a woman can look like, this feels at odds with having a man being the guiding force. There's also this insane moment where Diana is like, I'm not Clark, I'm not Bruce, I can't do this anymore. What are you talking about? I have to move on. We're not even at the big one yet. Okay. Steve Trevor is dead by issue 14. Hilarious stuff, all things considered. Like, shot point blank, Steve Trevor is dead. His last words are, Diana. Hilarious stuff, all things considered. The Sovereign does this because he wants Diana to attack directly. He wants her to go ballistic balls to the walls to frame Amazonians as kind of this like feral monster women. This to me seems like he's trying to meet her where she is. The Sovereign learns like after all these issues that Diana is not the stereotypical idea of a woman that he holds so dear. She is a warrior, does what a warrior does. So he assumes that when something like this happens, she is going to be enraged and attack. She doesn't do that. She takes instead a more passive role by mourning him for a very long time. I actually do like this panel, all things considered, of Diana telling herself to move, but in her grief, she like physically can't. I cannot yuck the yum of a grieving woman. That's not my place. I respect women. But like 51 days is a long time. Is a long time to just be sitting in that cave. Considering this man has died before. But like she physically can't take it by like day 51. She travels to the underworld, to Hades, to find his soul. And like once again, this storyline only gives us really touching moments of these two characters in like very specific liminal or psychic spaces. Don't know what that's about, but whatever. So Diana travels down to the River of Styx where she sees Steve waiting. He beat up Chiron, the fairy, so the boat stopped moving so we could wait for her. Hilarious, all things considered, but whatever. Diana gets an intimate goodbye with her male wife. And Steve says that Diana is a miracle. True. I'll agree with you there, buddy. Says that she is a prayer, that he says, you thought it was your mother's, turned out to be mine. Very presumptuous, but okay. And then he says to her, maybe it's time to pray again. Implying a child. Then, Steve Trevor says to her, do me a favor, will you? My grandmother's name was Elizabeth Marston. She was all right. Tough and arrogant and real funny till the day she went. I always wanted to talk with her again. I just think her story's like ours. It can't end in death. And ladies and gentlemen, there's the new leader of the Justice League! Woo! A grief baby. Born from a dead man's ass because he loved his grandma. The new leader of the Justice League Next Gen! Woo! That is the conversation they have. He climbs up back to the surface, to which the Sovereign says she had failed and he was gone. He says without Trevor, she was, for the first time, truly alone. As if you didn't just show Clark and Bruce comforting her earlier. Why would you say she's alone? Why would you say that? Why would you say that a woman who lost a partner is totally, utterly alone? Anyway, she creates a baby. And Elizabeth Marston Prince is born, ladies and gentlemen. Side note, she's named Elizabeth Marston because Marston, obviously the creator of Wonder Woman, and Marston's wife was named Sadie Elizabeth Holloway. Her name was Sadie, and she went by the name Elizabeth. Shout out. Shout out the creator. It gets worse. Anyway, so in issue 15, it shows us Diana taking care of her child in Themyscira, while the Wonder Girls do calculated attacks because it's revealed at the end of the issue that before Steve died, he was working behind the scenes to unravel the Sovereign Empire and relay that information to Diana when they met. So she turns the sovereign ideals on his head. He was so sure she was going to come attack, and yet she stays in Themyscira for 3 issues and is barely in those 3 issues. You showed him, girl boss. It just infuriates me. I don't know. Like, I know comic narratives are silly, but like when I read a Wonder Woman comic, I'm reading it for Wonder Woman. Sorry. Like 3 issues where she's barely in her own story. And it's like issues like it's early issues. It's like early issues. It's before you even reach issue 20. I just don't like the excuse of, oh, she's pulling the strings behind the scenes. She's operating. You just don't see it. Doesn't do it for me. Sorry. And I did talk about this in my paper because it gets to a point where we lose the plot so immensely that we cannot find our way back home. Right? Okay. Diana spends all of issue 17 doing the task of carving a Steve Trevor statue. Go, girl, go. She does this with like the baby. She brings the baby up to like the top of a mountain and just has her in like a little carriage, a little basket. Okay. The whole time she's telling the story of how Steve and her met. She is speaking to something that cannot reply, which I feel like is a roundabout way for her to expel this grief almost. I don't know why she couldn't just talk to her friends, but whatever, dude. So she's making the Steve Trevor statue to issue a permanent object to like enhance his legacy. I'm just gonna read from my thesis again because Asher from 2 months ago is so much smarter than I am now. I say, and I quote, Diana enters this period of mourning where she isolates herself in Themyscira, coordinating from afar but largely focusing on her own emotions. This period of mourning is substantial to this maternal power because her grief is what pushes her to raise her child and honor her lover. She honors him in 2 ways: coordinating attacks with the information he gathered and building a statue of him and talking about their origin. It shows a dichotomy between the 2 sides of her, the masculine warrior and the more feminine maternal one. Despite this, Diana is away from the current battle and story for 3 issues in a row. She also has very little panel time, which she does appear, with her only being in issue 15 for 6 pages, issue 16 for 7, and issue 17 for 5. As these are monthly comics, this is only a total of 18 pages that she is featured over a 3-month span. While she is still playing an important role, she is not actively with her sisters on the battlefield. She watches from afar with her child, repeating the stories of her lost lover. It sends a message that mothers are portrayed as distant figures. She has control of the environment and the people that admire her, but she is excluded from the physical action. End quote. Like, even when Diana finally confronts the Sovereign, the man that has like been targeting her sisters, the man that has like framed her for crimes that she did not commit, who goes against like every single ideal of freedom she represents. Like, you want to know what she says to him? Mother, I beseech you once more. My love is dead. His murderer stands before me. It is time. Bitch, your mother is not helping you with that. I'm so serious. I'm so sorry, Diana. Goodness me. Even jumping back, like that moment where Donna is like, oh, we're protecting our sister's greatest treasure or dearest treasure. Why are you not her greatest treasure? Why is her sister is not her greatest treasure? I'd be pissed actually. I'd low-key be a little peeved if I was any of them. Like, oh, goodness me. I'm so, like, the wishy-washy conversation about having a child that Steve and Diana have in an era where a lot of women in this country don't have a say in their bodies. And I only bring this up because the character of Wonder Woman we are talking about, she talks about American politics. I mean, fuck, she was like war propaganda, like actual war propaganda. She actively acknowledges the things that are happening in this country, or at least alludes to it. Issue 7 of Marston's original run in the Sensation comics, where Wonder Woman fights the milk industry prices. Jill Lepore, in her book, The Secret History of Wonder Woman, talks about this specifically, where she says, and I quote, the story came straight out of the Hearst newspaper that Harry G. Peter had worked for in 1910s. In 1919 and again in 1926, Hearst had used his papers to attack the politician Al Smith as one of the milk crooks for conspiring with the Milk Trust to raise the price of milk and form a profiteering that was killing American babies. She's talking about what's going on, okay? Even if it is sometimes a little satirical in its production, even if it's a little dramatized in its, I see a spider, dear Lord, even if it's a little dramatized in its showcase, she's talking about what is happening within the American country. And I think it is so ridiculous that when one of the biggest freedoms of choice is taken away for women, the current Wonder Woman has a child because Steve Trevor told her to. Let's finish things off with just talking about Trinity. The character Trinity. Not the Trinity. Trinity. What a lazy name. Trinity is just bad marketing for new gen Justice League. And it's annoying. You're annoying me. Tom King did a spotlight on Trinity where he like quite literally says Batman has a kid, Superman has a kid, and I just kept thinking they need a sister. Nothing in that interview talks about Diana as a character and what Diana wants, and the figure of Diana as a mother. Are you kidding? And you just know that that's the case immediately because when you read like the actual issues of the story, like if you go on DC Infinite, if you buy the issues, the stories at the end for at least I want to say the first 8, 9 runs, I could be wrong, I don't know, have mini stories of Damien, John, and Elizabeth all hanging out, them raising her, being big brothers, all for that to be compiled into a Trinity special. I know what you're doing. We know what you're doing. Why? Just why? The concept of new gen characters piss me off just on principle, but this specifically, that honestly, it feels like we just went through this whole Wonder Woman comic, this whole, like, what, 19 issues that was, just to get to this character. Don't play with my time like that. I am sad that I read it. And then I'm gonna keep reading it because honestly, my curiosity peaked. How bad can we go? How low can we go? We're already in rock bottom, honestly, it feels like. Like, just this characterization of Diana feels so shallow to me. I don't know. I don't feel like she cares. Like, legitimately, like I talked about in the first issue, Amazons are oh my god, the immigrant illusion that is actually happening right now in this country of immigrants being taken, kidnapped from their homes. Tom King portrays in the first issue where that is happening to Amazonians. And by issue 17, 18, where she, like, talks to the problem directly, the cause of all this, I don't think she gives a fuck about her own sisters that died in the streets. I don't think she cares. You want to know what she cares about? Steve Trevor. All she cares about is Steve Trevor. Agonizing. Horrible. Deplorable. Anyway, if you want an actual Wonder Woman story, read Absolute Wonder Woman. It's so good. Oh, Miss Kelly. Oh, Miss Kelly Thompson, you saved my life. You saved my life. I was gonna go crazy. I was gonna go balls to the walls, never to recover. But this saved me. So yeah, meow. Check out my blog. I'm gonna have more stuff about my thesis and other stuff about Wonder Woman and Marston and his wacky shenanigans. So go check that out and go read Absolute Wonder Woman. Don't read this run, or read it if you like don't believe me. If you think I'm kidding, you can go read it. Meow 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 meow.